So here we are again. This is Angelica Christie, and you are listening to my Monday through Friday live feed about happiness, happiness in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, in everyday chores, and in your spiritual and contemplating philosophically. Where do we get our happiness from? So I invite you to be here every morning from Monday to Friday at 11:11, and we will be done by 11:22. So I need to set a timer to make sure that this will be the case. And yesterday we talked about happiness in the body, and I hope you enjoyed that. Today the theme is happiness in your mind, and I wrote a couple of things down because happiness in the body is kind of spontaneous. Happiness in the mind is a little more precise. So I want to give you some precise tips and also don't want to go over time. So let's dive right into it. I believe, and it's really my first-hand experience, that happiness in the mind really directs how you experience your life and what kind of actions you take. So a happy mind is alert and it's calm, but expansive. And I mean, it's not locked into any belief system, but it's actually goes beyond it. It opens up and becomes receptive to whatever the universe brings in one's life. And a song actually came to mind yesterday. We all probably know it, Bob Marley. I'm not a singer, but the lyrics are, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. That's it. That's it right there. And a free mind is a happy mind. I know it sounds kind of logical and simple, and yet we have such a hard time to control the mind. Do you experience those inner dialogues that kind of have a mind on their own? Because you're triggered by a thought or any outside stimulus. Sometimes it can just be a scent or a song, and it brings you back to a situation. And when it brings you back to a challenging situation in the past, your mind goes wild with attaching immediately the feelings that you had when this unpleasant situation happened. You may have felt outrageous, unjust. It was something that was unacceptable to you. In whatever conflict that really took place, and you're right back there. And that's a little bit of a problem because it is not reality. It's fiction of your mind, because the past is the past. And yet we are so hooked on past events. We have such a hard time to let go of stuff. And so your mind starts that internal dialogue with nobody, with the phantom. Yes, a phantom, because nobody is actually there but you and your awesome ability to recreate a situation has this dialogue going on in your head. So what really happens, in a wave, your body floods with stress hormones. Because when you recreate something in your mind, your body believes everything you think, everything you say. So your body immediately sends out stress and alarm hormones. It's almost like those hormones, when they take over, you're actually out of control. It's almost as if you're in a straitjacket. You're hijacked by your emotions and your mind. You can also say your ability to reenact any stressful situation enslaves your brain and keeps it in that status quo. It's almost as if you deep freeze something so that you have it available for later on. So these images and these experiences, if you don't know how to love them free, I don't even say let them go. I teach my women that I mentor how to love free what they want to let go of. Because like that, it's an act that cannot hijack you anymore. Does this make sense? That a paralyzed mind is really chained to the bad experiences from the past. It doesn't really make sense when you think about it logically, because that's not what you want. So, but it is there unless you become aware that this brain of yours, this mind, has a life of its own and needs to be educated, needs to be, I don't want to say controlled, but it needs, just like you teach a child certain things, you need to teach your mind what you want and how to behave. And it's possible. So otherwise, you actually have a runaway train. And do you sometimes feel that as if you're in court and the judge and the jury, they're all together and they're against you? And it goes over and over and over again. And that is why I teach kick-ass happiness. Because even though you say that you strive for happiness, and in the US American Constitution, it says the pursuit of happiness is a human right. Even though you want happiness, you don't want to do what really brings you happiness. You don't really have to add anything. You have to let go of stuff. Why is that so difficult? Because you're afraid of change. We are all afraid of change. That's our primal instinct. Fear keeps your brain paralyzed, and the paralyzed brain is stuck in a belief system that it doesn't even know where it came from. And then the mind creates all kinds of reasons why it is not safe to change. Because there's risk involved, yes? Yes, of course. There is nothing in our life or in the world that is totally safe. Nothing. So we have to embrace that risk, and we have to train our mind to embrace risk. There's so much written about why women don't have the confidence they have and don't accept their own talents, and how they compare themselves with others and feel inadequate. And why don't you just step into your power and do this and this and this? Well, it's not that easy. You can get this in your mind, but actually doing it, it has, you run against a lot of hurdles. For example, your mind immediately starts to do, and maybe you recognize some of these internal dialogues that say, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the time right now to change, I don't have the money to get involved in change, it's not the right time for me. Well, the right time will never come. And those phrases that also create the as soon as, or if only, so you fill in the blanks there. And I want you to become aware when this happens, and I want you to stop, because it is important that you understand where that comes from. Because if you let that go, then the brain will continue running its own programs. So one of my quotes I remember from 10 years ago was, change your mind and your body will follow. Today, a decade later, I understand that we need work and time and a real plan in order to create changes in especially in our mind. Let's say you're in your 40s, 40 years old. So for 40 years, other people's mind and belief systems have really imprinted themselves on you. And you adopted beliefs starting from your parents, the society you were born into, the community you grew up in, the belief, the religious belief you have, all of those have an impact on you, and you adapt your belief system according to fit in the community in which you find yourself. And 40 years and then 50 years creates deep roots, right? It's almost like an oak tree with really deep roots. You cannot uplift or uproot an oak tree easily. It's a lot of work. So that's why I believe that it needs a systematic approach to, first of all, become aware. Why do I believe this? And since we are out of time here, I want to give you these 5 questions that I want you to write down, and then take some quiet time and go through the belief systems, those who you don't even know why you believe them, and also that those that don't feel all that comfortable, that you don't really feel in total harmony and alignment with, but you have believed it and you have been adapted to that way of thinking for so long that it just has created a deep groove and runs the program automatically in your mind. And your subconscious mind runs your life anyway, 95, 97%. So in order to create any change, it has to be there. You have to become aware of why you believe what you believe. So here are the 5 questions, and please write them down. The first one is, when you get into something that you think you want to take or peel away the illusions, maybe the limiting beliefs of it, but you have to get clear why you believe this. So here are the questions. Why do I believe this? Second question, who told me so? Third question, by whose authority do I believe that? So who told me so, and did that person or that system has the authority that I can adapt to that belief? And then the last, and I believe a very interesting and important question is it really, really true? Is it really, really true? Because if it is not really, really true, then there could be an opening, a shift. You could consider to make a different choice. And all of that has to do with becoming totally 100% yourself. Understanding and knowing yourself, because this is, and it starts in your mind. This is what the pursuit of happiness is, knowing yourself. So I have to close with this today. I hope you take time for yourself to ask yourself those questions and become aware of how your mind works, and then stop it when it tries to run away and make a different choice. But we will talk so much more about this next week on Tuesday when we come back to happiness in your mind. Okay, so everybody who participated and put some comments down or some questions, I thank you so much. I'm looking forward to reading your comments and getting your questions, because I will answer them to my best ability. That's it for today. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you to connect with me and be here. And have a beautiful rest of the day. And I'll see you again tomorrow, 11:11, same time. Bye-bye for now.